How you guys doing? Mandus Buckle here with Midwest Muscle Report. We're live at the 2016 North American Championships. And of course, we ran into our one and only, our brother, Kenny Wallach. Kenny, how you doing, bud?
Hey Mandus.
Hey. So, most of you know who Kenny is. One of the most glorified posing coaches there are in the industry, but also just a very, very good guy. His reputation is known as that. People run around, oh my God, did you see Kenny? I love Kenny. Kenny's such a good guy. Somebody's always telling a story about what he did for somebody or how he did it. So I think because he's such a nice guy, I think maybe every once in a while people don't realize just how great he is at his craft. And those of you who've posed with him, you know. But the rest of you, if you've just heard about what a good guy he is, he's yes, great guy, one of the best there is. But guys, you want to talk about precision. He's like a surgeon when he's talking about posing and teaching. So Kenny, give us some insight and understanding of how, why, and what you're looking at and why you're able to do what you're able to do. Because I've seen it time and time again. People who are good posers, really good posers, you were able to make them just that much better.
Thank you.
That's a gift. What is it that you're seeing? What's going on?
You know, man, I guess basically it just all starts off with structure for me. You know, because everybody is genetically built differently, I have to look at their structure according to their genetics. There's no one standard way, structure, you know.
Right.
And so when I see a physique, no matter what it is, whether it's a bikini physique or, top Olympian physique, it all boils down to that individual structure that in my eyes is structurally sound. How can I, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I do is I analyze it when I first watch them. I see what they have. And then in my mind is going over what's going to make them structurally perfect to me. For them. Once I come up with an image of what to me is going to be perfect for that individual, then I can get to work.
Okay. Now, when you say that it varies so much, some of us might be confused because when I see posing, they do have in every class what they call mandatory poses.
Right.
So how different can a mandatory pose be on athlete A from athlete B to athlete C?
It can vary very much because as far as I'm concerned, 1 inch equals a mile. Okay? So I can take a certain physique and tweak it that 1 inch and it could be completely different than something that would be considered standard.
Okay.
Because a standard deltoid bicep doesn't mean that it's made for everybody. So what I do is I'll start with the standard and then I start manipulating it inch by inch to where I could see where that person, say they have a narrow shoulder width. Well, then I have to make it where they're going to be comparable to somebody who is going to have a wider shoulder and have them be competitive with it.
Okay.
So now that's where I start.
And then all of a sudden we're talking about let's use the front double bicep as a perfect example.
Sure.
I see some guys lean to the left. I see some guys lean to the right. I see some stand straight up. Some will contour their upper body. So is this what you're talking about now, breaking down an individual physique, looking at what's best for it, and then making those adjustments?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll take a person's right quad and see what it looks like shifting them to the right and how balanced it is to the left quad. If there's an imbalance or if I see one, because a lot of people have imbalances in their leg development.
Absolutely.
So I have to work with that.
No two sides are the same.
Absolutely right. So I work with that and then I have to see, okay, do I move something forward? Do I move something to the side? Do I twist? Do I do that? Where I create a balanced look, but at the same time, an impressive round and full look. See? So it's just a matter of, for me, just trying to take the canvas and put a green there and a light green there and maybe a little bit of a, yellow or something to, you know what I mean? And I just try to make it, kind of like mix as best as I can.
Okay. Now, I think in the past, traditionally, posing has been something that's kind of on the back burner. You find somebody who lives close to you who can come out and physically move your hips, shift your shoulders. And back in the day, it seemed like that's what it was. Now, we see that we don't live in that type of society anymore.
Right.
And it's very easy to communicate with somebody who is 1,000 miles away.
Sure.
So your most common way of business is Skype interviews?
Skyping and FaceTiming, yes.
Okay. But with that being said, I do know, because I see you all over the country all year long. Mm-hmm. And it's not only because you're the posing coach for the team of athletes that I happen to coach, but it's because at almost every major national or pro show, you've got dozens and dozens and dozens of athletes. So one of the things I know you do is you come for the week and you're running and making rounds and going over posing with people the day before, the night before, the morning of the show. How do you keep track of all that? And what is it like when a lot of times you've got 2 or 3 people in the same top 5 lineup?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I keep track. I mean, fortunately, I've been blessed to have a wonderful, wonderful manager who keeps track of everybody, the categories, who their prep coaches, everything. And then I get the list, okay? And then it's divided by, it's all put together according to the category that they're competing in. So there's my way of tracking it. But I also have in my mind, I pretty much know everybody, what they're bringing.
Right.
So that's in my data bank in my head. I remember, and then I just I come to the show. Like Tuesday night, he came here, and I know exactly what I'm doing before I get here, and I'm ready to go. And then when I get here, I execute it, and I just don't look anywhere but forward, and I make it happen with everybody.
Okay. How do we get a hold of you, those of us who are living under a rock or who didn't know who you were before this interview? How do we get a hold of you? And what does dead center mean?
Well, you can get a hold of me at posingbykenny.com. You could email us at posingbykenny@gmail.com, and that basically goes right to my manager, Angela, and she sets up all the appointments, whether it's an in-person, one-on-one, or a FaceTime or Skype, and we just, she'll make it all that happen. As far as dead center is concerned,
catchy.
Yeah, well,
you gotta love it. you gotta love it.
Well, it always came down to people were saying to me, Kenny, I was dead center, or you heard it like a lot of time, dead center, and then I started using that term too, like, oh, she was dead center, he was dead center, great,
Because you have so many athletes who end up being dead center. Maybe that's really where it came from.
Well, made that
a little bit of confidence, perhaps. It has happened over and over.
Yeah, and it started like coming out. I said, maybe that might be good.
You might be onto something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I came up with that, and I said, I figured it's motivating, and really, I was thinking about it. I was like, that is like the ultimate destination of our sport.
Absolutely.
It's the ultimate destination.
Absolutely.
And why not use that as a motivating tool and really kind of get it out there, So I came up with the logo, and I was, and this and how all that stuff. And
where do we get the shirt at? Where can we buy this shirt?
You can go on posingbykenny.com, and we have women's t-shirts and men's t-shirts, and we're coming out with tank tops for men, Razorback tank tops for women, hats we're starting to come out with. So, I don't know anything about this stuff, you know what I mean?
You know about posing.
Yeah, so, but I came up with the idea, and hopefully, it'll evolve, and I'll get to learn more as we go along, and as far as, textures and colors and this and that, but I really am enjoying it.
Good.
I mean, I love it all. I feel very, very blessed. I'm thankful every single day, and, we just kind of help people do their best, and that's what it's about for me. Help them leave that venue, no matter where they place, with a pride, knowing that they did their best, they showed their physique, their absolute best, they left no stone unturned, And is it great to win? Sure it is, but it's more important for me to know that the person who I worked with walks out there with a pride, knowing that they showed their physique. They justified all that training, the dieting, the cardio, the money, the time, the blood, sweat, and tears of all being on stage. They justified it by presenting themselves the very best they possibly could. And to me, that's what it's all about.
There you go. I don't think we can say anything else after that. That pretty much sums it up. I do know, Kenny, that you have been doing a little bit of traveling. And so now we're going to be able to actually catch you in remote places to sign up for posing. Mm-hmm. For instance, you were in Chicago at USA Gym a few days before Junior Nationals, and you had 70 or 80 athletes come through within 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we filled up the spots too fast, and dozens of other athletes were asking, and we just didn't have the time slots. You'll be back in Chicago in mid to late October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe the third week, I think.
Okay, we can post those dates, but what I hear is you're going to be out there for 2, maybe 3 days this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if we need be, maybe 4.
Maybe 4. So those of you in the Midwest, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, if the drive is not too far, you can actually meet Kenny in Chicago.
Yeah.
We will post the dates for one-on-one personal posing in a posing room with Kenny. And these are going to be dates that are going to be not too far from Nationals. So those of you who are getting ready to go and compete at Nationals, those finishing touches, you can meet up with Kenny in the Midwest, again in Illinois at USA Gym, mid to end October. We will post the dates later. Until then, Kenny, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
Thank you. You too,
I'm
man.
glad you were on here. We do know how to get a hold of you now, and we will see you as usual at the next show.
Absolutely.
Until next time, man, this Buckle Midwest Muscle Report, we're out.